Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is August, here with part 2 of my art stories. On number 5 in my list of favorite art moments, we have the time I did this painting, and when I showed it to my art teacher, he looked at it for a couple minutes, and this was a painting of me and Dylan and Emmy, we were like the art gang. We sat at the front of the table. So he was looking at this photo. He knew it was the three of us. And he looked at me and he said, "The girls in this photo look ugly." And all of us were in earshot. He was saying it to me, and we all were like, Marty, that is us. That is, we are the girls. I can't believe my art teacher just called me ugly to my face. And of course he was like, that wasn't what he meant. He just meant like, it was like ugly in an art sense. Like, it was profoundly ugly. Like, we looked ugly because looked like we were bullying this girl, which that wasn't even the point of the painting, bro. But it was a weird painting. It didn't work out the perfect way I wanted, but just the way he was like, the girls in this are ugly. As if he didn't know 100% that it was just us. Number 4. Another Marty story. So he had in his ceramics 2 class, I think, he wanted them to make gnomes of themselves. So he made an example gnome, and we called it Mr. Crook Gnome because that was his name. Don't tell him that I'm doxing him on my YouTube channel, please. It would be embarrassing. Yeah, it was called Mr. Crook Gnome, and we all loved Mr. Crook Gnome. We thought it was funny. It had like a fishing pole. And one day, me and the Goyles, we ate lunch in the art room, and one day it was super cold, but it was like nice and warm outside, so me and Dylan went outside to eat, and upon coming back in, there was just like a banger of a song playing, I guess. I don't remember what the song was, but so Dylan was like dancing to it, so I was like dancing with her because I thought it was funny, and we were both wearing like really big jackets, and Mr. Crook Gnome was perched precariously on the edge of his desk, and I'm sure you can guess where this is going. And so as we're walking in, so one of our jackets, even though both of us were like nowhere near it, it was like in the middle of us, Mr. Crook Gnome leaps off the edge of the desk and shatters into a million pieces on the floor. And we both stop. And we probably just started like sobbing laughing, but with fear, because oh my god, like the wrath that this man can hold, Mr. Crook. Except he liked us, so we thought it would be fine. Like if someone he didn't like broke that gnome, it would have been all hell would break loose. But yeah, he came back. We picked up the chunks and we like set it back into a pile on his desk just to see how long it would take him to see his precious creation blown to smithereens. And it didn't take long, only a couple minutes. And he was like, "What happened to Mr. Crook Gnome?" or whatever. And me and Dylan were like, "Who's Mr. Crook Gnome? What's a gnome?" We were like, "Who's Mr. Crook? I don't know either of these things." And obviously, he saw right through it. He was like, "What did y'all do?" And Dylan ended up taking the blame, which I don't know how that happened. Like I said, she's just Dylan, probably just happened that way. And he like went off on us, but in like a joking way because he liked us, it was fine. But yeah, I ended up making Mr. Crook he like was giving us like the silent treatment after he was done being mean to us, being fake mean to us. And and he got a box from the back of the room, and I have the picture. I'll put it up when I'm done explaining it. But yeah, he spent the whole class period photoshopping Mr. Crook Gnome, into pictures, and then making him a coffin. And here's the coffin. That's what it looked like. But I had a video I posted it on my story. I wanted to take it of me holding the grave, or of me holding the coffin, and as I was holding it, I dropped it again. I think the next week we went and buried it outside, and like the whole class went and buried this gnome outside, and it was just really sad. I utilized my iMovie making skills and made an iMovie of like an in remembrance video of Mr. Crook Gnome. Top 3. So top 3.5 is Soft Rock, which is just the time I ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was crunchy peanut butter. It was crunchy peanut butter, and my mother made it for me. And she, for some reason, she put way too much peanut butter. Crunchy peanut butter on that. And I ate it, and I started sobbing. I was like, this tastes like Soft Rock. Just over and over again. I said, this tastes like Soft Rock. And it was horrible. It was traumatizing. Actual top 3. Here we go. Number 3. This story is the reason I'm making this video, because me and Dylan were talking about this. But one time, it was during lunch, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I just found a hilarious TikTok, and so I went over to Dylan, and I was like squatting on the floor next to where she was sitting, showing her this TikTok, and I feel like I'm exposing myself. This is very embarrassing. And like while I had like my mouth open, like smiling, like, oh, Diamond's here. And I didn't really see what happened. I just like heard the drool hit the floor. And Dylan looks at me and she says, "Did you just..." And I said, "No." I said, "No. But I was lying. I did just drool all over the floor." And it was so embarrassing. But that is literally, we like cry over that like routinely. We'll like talk about it all the time, and that's the reason I am making this video. But I'm like literally sobbing right now, crying over it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that I like wearing masks now, because something like that can never happen again. So number 2, we have Stary. And Stary was a boy in the Sculpture 3 class that we were paired with. Looked at him, and Dylan was the one facing him. Me and Emmy were facing away, but Dylan started being like once he left, she was like, "Hey, y'all know that dude that sits over there? He is like constantly staring at us. Constantly." And we're like, "What?" And sure enough, when lunch was over, we and class started, me and Emmy both turned around at one point to see, and he was literally like dead staring at us, like with intent, like focus. No, Stary. This is important. I need to not get distracted by diamonds. I'll explore this another time when I'm not trying to be a storyteller. So, I would like food. I don't have a single ounce. Let's go back to the safety of my strip mine, please. Please and thank you. Oh, my toes. Ow, ow, ow. Anyways, so Stary. We turned around, and he was just fervently looking. He was looking so hard. And that's why his name is Stary, in case you couldn't guess. Because me and Dylan and Emmy sat right by our teacher's desk. We came up with the conspiracy theory that he asked to go to the bathroom so much so that he could come up to Mr. Crook's desk and be able to get a closer look at Emmy, which is who he was in love with, we assumed. And one time we had a sub, and I kid you not, the 3 of us were talking, and I saw him coming up, and so I wanted to like watch. And this man, hold on, we gotta act it out. I was sitting like this, and he was walking this way. And he was literally walking like this. Like just staring us down, like intently. And it was so funny. I was like crying over it. I was just waiting for him to leave so I could tell them. And then another time, one of the other art teachers were in the room, and we were all talking. And the art teacher, he looked across the room and he was like, "Well, what do you think?" Whatever his name was, what do you think, Stary? And he said something, but the only reason that the teacher asked him, "Oh, beautiful," The only reason the teacher asked him what he thought was because he was fervently staring in our direction. Like, that is so funny. Like, it was just constant. My friend Emmy, she worked at an ice cream store, and one day she said he came in to the store. He came straight up to the counter, and he said, he's like, hey, I have a question for you. And Emmy, she said she just felt unrestrained fear. Just pure fear. Like, oh god, what could he possibly ask? And at this moment in time, we were having some shenanigans going on in our art class that were like, whatever. And the question was just about the shenanigans, but she said the fear she felt if this little boy were to ask her out on a date. He wasn't a little boy, he was my age. But, bro, Starry, he's remembered. I hope he knows that. I hope he knows. And then, coming in at number 1 on the list of the best art stories. I gave him a fake name because this is just us making so much fun of him. It's just us making so much fun of him. There was this one boy in AP Art who was a senior at the time. And for the sake of this video, we will call him, what is my name? Sam Moxdale. For the sake of this video, his name is Sam Moxdale. I'm trying to ingrain that into my brain because it's gonna be hard to relearn the phrase. And I'll tell you the phrase in a second. But he made this drawing. And I can't show you it, obviously, because then I would have to ask him, and he'd be like, why? And I'd be like, well, I'm roasting you in front of all of YouTube. And he'd be like, okay, then you can't use my art. And I'd be like, okay, thanks. So, I will not be asking for permission to use his art. I will just do my own rendition of it and put that up on the screen. So, in a second, wait. He made this ballpoint blue pen, ink drawing, excuse me, of a dog sitting at someone's feet or something, I don't remember. And don't get me wrong, it was okay. I mean, it was super realistic, and that was pretty much why everyone liked it, was because it was super realistic, and there was a dog. People like animals in art. And yeah, so he made this, and we didn't really like it because we like kind of all hate hyperrealism because we think it's lazy, and the art teachers didn't even really like it that much. But you know who does like stuff like that? Who loves stuff like that? Stuff that Sam Moxdale makes? Competitions. Judges. Love it. They kill for it. They gave him so much money. He earned so much money for that piece and like others he did that were like hyper realistic. And we were always just like, why? Like, it's just, are you ready? This is what it was called. This is the name of the piece. It was Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. And it's so hard to say Sam Moxdale instead of his real name because I kid you not, we mentioned this piece on the daily, on the hourly, like often. Like, it was insane how much we talked about this. Like, you would think we were like obsessed. But like every time like one of us would make a piece, it'd be like, oh yeah, it's good Dylan, but it's no Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. Ooh, 8 diamonds, pretty good. And oh my god, the amount of joy that we received from that. I just like, one time me and Emmy had to pack up stuff to send it to a show, and one of the pieces going to the show was Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. We were literally holding it like, we were like, be careful with it. It's Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. This will earn him so much money. We can't ruin it. Like, oh my god. Like, we were like relentless. I know that doesn't sound relentless, but when Valentine's Day came around and we all chose like funny themes to make our Valentine's Day cards, Emmy made her Valentine's Day cards Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale themed. And oh my god, they were amazing. treasure. I like the Are You Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale? Because I would spend 4 months just staring at you. Oh god, oh god. There you go. Because I would spend 4 months just staring at you because we always made fun of him for taking so long on it because most of us try to make pieces in like a week and he spent 4 months on it because it was so hyper realistic and made a ballpoint pen. For what reason? Like everyone in my art class knew, even the people that we didn't like that much. They knew about Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. We talked about it so much, like an ungodly amount. But it was just something you had to talk about. It was unavoidable. It was beautiful. I guess that's pretty much the end of the video. That was number 1. Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. I still think about it sometimes. He really made that, and everyone was like, yeah, this is the peak of art. This is it. No one can ever make a piece better than this. And it was just Comfort of Home by Sam Moxdale. And people like worshipped it. I'm like sad now, I miss it. If you were in my art class last year, if you were in AP art last year at all, you are pretty cool. You're pretty cool. You made it good. So it was fun. And I'm sure all of us would agree. Thanks Dylan for the video idea. That's all. I'm tired now. Okay, well, thank y'all for watching. I hope part 2 is a little bit more interesting because it's the funnier stories, but yeah, it was a fun year. It was a fun year. Leave a comment. Tell me if you enjoyed it. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe, click the bell to see part 3 of Art Stories. No, I'm just kidding. That's all. I don't have any more. I'm out. Okay, well that's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.